The snow scene with all the trees had two elements to it. We were coming out of the wardrobe, so we had to be pushing through the coats, through the trees, and then we flipped around to the other side to see the talent emerging from those trees and coming towards the sign. So although that was one scene, it actually had two very different setups which required their own specific rigging and frames and lighting. By far the most complicated setup of the entire shoot was the snow scene. There were many moving parts. We had a jib crane, so at this point everyone's loaded up the Ronin 2 onto the jib. We've got the falling snow, and we have to get the talent moving through the frame as well. So we've got moving jib crane, we've got moving talent, and we've got the snow coming down, which has to be sitting in the right place, and it kept blowing onto the lens because of the way that the wind was blowing. So lots of things that we had to get right. Working with kids, so the kids have a limited threshold for how many times they're going to want to do something and how many times they have a good take in them. To start off with, we created our cupboard. That was just a rail of clothes that they could push through. Boxed it in with some negative so that it felt like they were in the dark space, and then we fired a 1.2K HMI kind of towards them so that as they come through there's a little bit of twinkling in the light. Once we were done with the reverse shot of the wardrobe, we moved on to the main snow scene. And at this point, we were bringing out the big guns. We had an Arri S360C, which is an absolutely gigantic LED light. So this acted as our key light, and it was big enough and soft enough that it was graceful. And even though we weren't fully at sunset, it was powerful enough to cut through and give us the shape that we needed. In addition to that, we took the 1.2K HMI, threw it in the background as a backlight, and that was gelled a little bit, obviously, to match with the color temperature that we were getting out of the Arri light. When you're dealing with any kind of precipitation, like we've got snow falling just here, you need to have that backlight to really pick it out and make it visible on screen. And it also then helps to give it that magical feel, just tickles the backs of their shoulders and gives you that really Narnia vibe that we were going for. Now, as I mentioned, we were integrating a lot of elements here. We had the snow, we had the actors and actresses moving through the space, and we had the jib moving down as well. Alongside that, Naoki was sniping some long lens shots so that we'd be able to get two shots at the same time and make the takes with the actors as efficient as possible so they didn't have to do the same thing again and again for different camera angles. In the next part, we're going to look at the Christmas market scene, which was the final setup of the day. It saw a return of the Astera tubes and also the gem ball.